On this week's episode of the I Ain't Playing podcast, your girl has strep throat. So this episode is going to be entirely audio. Y'all ain't going to see me like this, but I could not resist telling y'all what's up. There's so much to cover, so we're going to get right into it. So, there were several notable injuries during week 1. However, 3 players suffered injuries to their clavicle, aka their collarbone. Now, Nick Foles is out for the season after breaking his collarbone in the first half against the Kansas City Chiefs. And in that same game, Tyreek Hill on the Chiefs suffered a dislocation, which his front office says makes him week to week, but we know he's going to be out probably 4 to 6 weeks. And then there's Devin Funchess, who on the Colts is now on IR after having surgery from his clavicle injury. So it's rough seeing the players go down. So I'm going to stand in prayer for y'all. I'm going to go to the Lord and ask him to please be a reinforced clavicle for all the players on the field every week. I mean, please be a strong shoulder for them, Lord, because we don't have time for this. You know, do y'all need some milk? Y'all need some extra calcium supplements. Something's got to get better because it's just week 1. There's still plenty of football left to play. So all the collarbones in the NFL, I'm not going to play with you. Okay, I need to find who put a curse out on the sports teams in the DFW Metroplex, because now we have the Dallas Wings who missed the playoffs, although they never really stood a chance all season. And our Texas Rangers have not yet been eliminated, but it's pretty certain that we're going to miss the playoffs there too. And both teams now join the Mavericks, who did not make the playoffs. So that leaves all of the city's championship hopes in the hands of the Dallas Cowboys and the Dallas Stars. Now, the Stars had a good run this year, but fell short in the playoffs in the second round. So now it's all eyes on the Cowboys for the 6 million people of the Plex. And let me tell you, I want a parade. I miss the electricity in the air when the city is winning. Now, I'm not a fair weather fan, so win or lose, I'm a Mavs fan for life. It's always go Rangers, go Stars, go Wings, go FC Dallas, etc. But the people are restless. Every year is our year because we thirsty. So to the team owners, it's time to make some bold moves, because as great as our area is, our sports team should reflect that. So Mark Cuban, I'm talking to you. Now that we are over the retiring of our dear Dirk, so now it's time to focus on ring number 2, Mavs. And that goes for all other teams in the Metroplex. It's time to focus on a championship. Bring us the parade, or at least a playoff run, because that at least gives us hope, you know? But another year like this with only 3 rounds of playoffs for all of our teams? Nah, DFW, I'm not finna play with you. Now I want to talk to poor Daniel Jones. My man gets put in the game with garbage time against the Cowboys, and he fumbles the ball away. Now, I'm not here to harp on him for that, because mistakes happen. But that's my point. Learn from it, shake it off, and do better next time. It is too early for you to have mastered the Eli face. Sulking on the sidelines is not one of the Giants' QB traits that you need to pick up. It ain't like that O-line has drastically improved, so you can expect to be knocked around and down when you do get in the game, which means you have plenty of time to be frustrated as a QB for the New York Football Giants. So fix your face, because I'm not finna play with you. And now it's time for Put Me In, Coach. Now, y'all, when it comes to Antonio Brown, I was rooting for him. I really was, but that's canceled now. I don't want to spend a lot of energy on him because every sports media outlet is. There was just so much that he did in the past week that it was just either baffling, or it was crazy, or then it was crazy good and we were clapping again, and now recent news. So I just wipe my hands clean of him and his shenanigans. No matter the outcome of the investigation, I find him to be selfish, illiterate, and a pure disgust. So I do, however, think it's right for him to still be at practice. I think it's right that the NFL give him his due process and the time to conduct a full investigation before taking action. But I believe women, and so I think it'll come very soon that he's out of there. Bye-bye. Now, as a perfect segue from AB, one thing I thought was super foul was his use of a phone call between him and Coach Gruden in his social media post. Now, from all that was said and what we saw, it seemed like Coach Gruden was in AB's corner. And now I'm sure all coaches of all sports are leery of calling players and having it be recorded and played and manipulated to their use. So I'm here to offer my services. I'll call the players for y'all. Literally, you can put me in, coaches. I mean, I'm willing to say the things that y'all shouldn't be recorded saying. I can get in their ass like Tom Coughlin or just straighten them out like Popovich, and they can play my voice whenever and however. I don't care. And it won't be a coach said type call, but they'll know that you co-signed that message. Now, most players have more respect for their coach than to publicize a private conversation, but coaches, if you have those questionable guys and gals, don't hesitate to put me in. Okay, there were some definite blowouts in week 1 of football, and it begs the question, was the winning team that good or the losing team that bad? Like the Ravens versus the Dolphins. I'll say the Miami Dolphins are that bad. Like, did the front office even try during the offseason? Now, Lamar Jackson definitely put his haters on notice, but he was playing against a practice squad. Let's be real. Now, with the Titans versus the Browns, in this case, I'll say the Browns played that bad, especially on defense. This is what I was worried about. You know, even with 3 very explosive offensive pieces, the defense not being able to stop a nosebleed and the O-line not allowing Baker to get in rhythm will kill all of my razzle dazzle. Now, Tennessee has been a good team, but not great. Now, we all know that the Patriots are just that damn good, especially against the Steelers. But to the Steelers organization, why didn't y'all let Big Ben retire last year? That man is playing lackluster at best, and it's going to be a long last season in Pittsburgh, unless y'all just bench him because he's that bad. Now, have y'all been seeing what's going on in baseball? You get a home run. You get a home run. Everyone is going yard. Why? Y'all, they done tampered with the ball again. After looking into it, the commissioner confirmed that the balls are more aerodynamic, the core is more centered or whatever, aka they are juice. And we've seen this before, but this year, the home run record for the most home runs in a month was broken in 2 consecutive months, back in May and back in June. Now the record is 1,142. That's crazy. And it doesn't stop there. The most home runs combined in a game was 13, and that was with the Diamondbacks versus the Phillies. And the Yankees are now holding the most consecutive games with a home run with 31. And the second team to ever hit 100 home runs in the first 50 games was the Twins this year. So is baseball going to change like basketball? Everyone is shooting threes now, so I guess everyone has a boomstick. Is it not foul because everyone is hitting the same juice ball? I mean, you might as well put corks in everybody's bats then. I can't say I don't like it because home runs equals the juice for me, but is it going to take that wow factor away if every game is a home run derby? I just don't know, y'all. Woo, Chile. We had us a week in sports, didn't we? I mean, we watched as Serena was in the finals for the U.S. Open, and she did end up losing to 19-year-old Bianca Andreescu from Canada. However, Rafael Nadal did pull out his win. Obviously, it was supposed to be Purple Gang Gang for the win. Now, we also had some juicy college games. My favorites were Michigan versus Army because it went into double OT. Thank y'all for an unexpectedly juicy game. Off top, the Army team showed that they came to play. They should really be proud of their effort. But Harbaugh, you squeaked that one out. I know your nerves were a wreck because you know it's going to take more than that to beat the Ohio State. Now, following that game was Colorado versus Nebraska. That also went into OT with Colorado pulling out the win. Now, the Cornhuskers looked sick on the sidelines after allowing the Buffaloes to score 24 points in the fourth quarter. You gotta stay on that gas because obviously it'll come back to bite you. Now, how did the Jets lose and the Lions tie? Just like Nebraska, the Jets allowed the Bills to score enough points to this time not just tie, but win in the fourth. I mean, how do you go into the fourth up 16-3 and end up losing 17-16? Well, the Lions allowed the Cardinals to score 18 points in the fourth to tie the game up, take them into OT, where they ended the game tied. Now, if there's anything that grinds my gears, it's tie games. I get that they don't want the game to drag on, but at least give us a double OT to try to get a winner. Now, my game of the week goes to the Monday night matchup between the Saints and the Texans. Talk about juicy. First off, why were people acting like Deshaun Watson is trash? Y'all must have forgot who he is. And y'all must have forgot who DeAndre Hopkins is, too. I mean, put some respect on both of their names. And well, the obvious MVP goes to Will Lutz for that stellar last-minute kick in true dramatic fashion. But what I noticed more was the exposing of the Saints secondary and the Texans O-line. Both teams can be dominant, but those areas will be their Achilles heel if not improved upon. Now, make sure you're following the I Ain't Playing podcast Instagram page at _podcast so you can see all my predictions for this week's games. Compare yours. Let's talk about it. Let's debate about it. And then we'll check back and see how well we did. So the race for the pennant is almost underway. I'll be very surprised if the winner doesn't come out of the American League. No one is touching the reigning champion Astros or the dynamic dynasty that is the Yankees. But I love to see a wild card team take the playoff race by storm. So here's to a hopefully juicy October since my Rangers ain't even in it. Since we're talking about playoffs, the WNBA playoffs kicked off Wednesday, September 11th, with Diamond DeShields leading the Chicago Sky to a win over Brittany Griner and the Phoenix Mercury. Now, unfortunately, Griner went down with a knee injury that game, so let's wish her a speedy recovery back to health. Now, also, the Seattle Storm eliminated the Minnesota Lynx in a close-knit game. Now, I have the Mystics picked to take it all, but I'm keeping my eyes on the Las Vegas Aces because I watch them, and them women got heart. Now, lastly, I don't know what necessarily was missing from our USA men's basketball team, but I'm just not used to hearing that we took a L. You know, maybe the rest of the world has caught up to us competitively. I know Gobert was showing out for France. I know Giannis was showing out for Greece, but you know, and we don't have necessarily our best players on the court, but I'm still just used to us being just that much more dominant in the world of basketball that no other team could even compete with our third and fourth and fifth string. But I guess times have changed. Now, last week, our stars were the Cedar Crest Comets, and I want to encourage you, if you haven't had a chance to reach out and help out, please do so. But this week, a very near and dear to my heart topic is that I love that there is a focus on women in football. So I want to highlight Dallas's own Odessa Jenkins, who was a star running back and champion on the Dallas Diamonds. Now, raise your hand if you've heard of the Dallas Diamonds. I know I hadn't, and I am ashamed to say that because it is a woman's tackle football team here in the city. Now, with her talent and her know-how, Odessa started a women's professional tackle football league called the Women's National Football Conference, and she is now a coach for the local team, the Texas Elite Spartans. Now, this conference is nationwide. There's a team in Seattle, in San Diego, LA, New Orleans, Florida, Alabama, Nebraska, Denver, etc. So There's no excuse not to catch a game, y'all. So thank you, Odessa, for being an inspiration to girls who are told that they can't play football. I salute you for being a pioneer, and I want to spread the word to others who, like me, may not have heard about the league or the team. Now, their website is awesomely woman-centric, highlighting Dr. Jen Welter, who was out of Fort Worth, had an awesome football career of her own, and is now an assistant coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, there's also a highlight of other female officials and girls flag football leagues and other things that are so awesome. So please go visit WNFCfootball.com. And I want to see y'all at the games next year. I'll definitely be there so that we can support these badass women. And finally, I would like the attention of all the parents out there. Can y'all stop asking these athletes to raise your children? Like, this really irks my nerves. Every year, at least one parent gets disappointed by something an athlete does, either directly or indirectly to their child, and then they feel it's necessary to pen and publicize a letter condemning said athlete on being a poor role model. First of all, they are not paid role models. They are paid to play a sport at a professional level for our entertainment. While kids looking up to them may come with the territory, it's not their job to uphold an image to your liking, because secondly, your standards are not the universal standards of behavior. I remember some years back, a mother made this huge fuss about Cam Newton dancing to celebrate a touchdown. I mean, she was just so distraught by how she had her daughter with her and he was displaying such unsportsmanlike conduct. But lady, unsportsmanlike to who? Because me and my mom watched the same TD celebration and we turned right up with Cam. The culture in our household is different. So you expect this man to play by your house rules only? Girl, bye. Like, if your child is as offended as you claim, then y'all have a private family conversation where y'all can be as holier than thou, pearl clutching as you want. Because the third point here is that you raise your children at the end of the day. These role models don't. It is your job as parents to instill values, moral codes, teach right from wrong, etc. So when a child sees something that goes against that, they know better than to emulate, or there will be consequences. Like, my cousins and I loved us some wrestling growing up. One of our favorite groups was the popular D Generation X. And if y'all can remember, they had one of the most inappropriate gestures. That's right, the suck it X. Suck it, suck it. Y'all remember? Now, I also remember kids at school used to hit that mug to each other all the time, but not me, because I knew it wouldn't be X-Pac or Triple H answering the call from the school. It'd be my mama, and she come off the ropes on me. So I saved mine for the comfort of the kids' room at the crib, out of earshot of any adults. But the point is, I knew it was wrong because my parents taught me better, and I knew consequences came from displaying bad behavior. But again, bad behavior is subjective. So my fourth and final point to all of this is that these athletes don't owe you anything. I mentioned this with Andrew Luck's situation, but it's worth repeating for this DeMarcus Lawrence incident. Parents, stop acting like these athletes, or any celebrities for that matter, are required to stop for your kid and do what they ask. That's just not the way the world works. And furthermore, with the comment that D-Law made about the kid having the wrong jersey on, I see no issue. Little boy, you were just rooting for his failure. If you don't get up out his face. Like, a while back, my mom and I, we were in Uptown Village in Cedar Hill, and we spotted Des Bryant coming out of Foot Locker. My mom was like, ooh, go take a picture with him. And I looked at her so crazy, and I told her, no, I have on all Packers gear. One, what do I look like? But two, he gonna look at me sideways. And so we kept driving. It is what it is. I love me some Des, but this is football. Better teach them while they young, for they get their feelings hurt in these streets. Well, little Giants fan, now you know. But don't blame DeMarcus. Blame your dad for his unreasonable expectations of a true athlete. So I don't want to read not another open letter to an athlete for not doing your job properly as a parent. And I ain't playing. Thank you for watching. Please make sure to subscribe below. I really appreciate it. Make sure you leave some comments. Give me some feedback. Let's discuss, let's debate, let's laugh, let's relate, because that's what the show was made for. But keep in mind that I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my All right, y'all keep it cheesy. Go Pack Go, and I'll see you next week.
We woke Sean up out the dead. Yeah.